What's up, Guild? Dave Savage here, and I was just rapping with Michelle Castle out of North Texas, and she is just a great success story, not only with Guild, but with the entire mortgage coach community. But we just said, hey, let's record something for you guys. This is for Guild. We're going to address your tech stack, how she's using Mortgage Coach. Mm-hmm. So, Michelle, why don't you, I know you wanted to do this for your region, but let's make sure everybody in Guild, in case they don't know who you are and where you're at, they kind of know what market you're in, what you're doing, and then let's just have the conversation you want to have.
Okay, so Michelle Castle, I'm in the Sherman branch, just north of Dallas. Been with Guild since 2011. So technology has come a long way. A lot of the tools that Guild has to offer us as loan officers have come a long way. And Mortgage Coach is just something that we embraced in about mid-year this year. And it's part of our process. It's part of how we win deals. So
beautiful. And I want anybody who's listened to this that, you know, you may have had some bumps and bruises along the way, you know, adopting new technology, there is a pain of change. And if you listen to my last interview with Michelle, it was with one of her production partners. I'm going to put a link down below. Mm-hmm. So this is just for Guild. It's an unlisted link in YouTube, but the one down below is a public link. And you can kind of hear of their startup story. You know, they kind of had a, we started, we stopped, we started, we stopped. Check that out. And I really want you to listen to that because you don't need to start and stop. If you do it right, you could just rocket launch. So Michelle, what is the leadership you want to bring to your region? And I think it would be valuable for everybody. They can just connect their dots no matter where they're at with Guild.
Well, I think the buyer journey and the buyer conversation has changed so much. And I've really seen a big change just in the last year. And so why we embrace the technology, you know, we were at Leadership Summit, everybody's talking about Mortgage Coach. You go to the core, everybody's talking about Mortgage Coach. I mean, anybody that's producing at a high level is talking about Mortgage Coach and how you've got to implement it. So yes, we hit some struggles, but I'm like, you know what? I've got to do this too, because the conversation with the buyer has changed. And the market is so competitive that it's really hard to shift the buyer's mind from rates, because they think that's all that matters, to what really matters whenever you have a conversation with them, which is payment and out-of-pocket expense. So that was the first part of that change for us, is just shifting that script without memorizing a script to get them off of rate. This is so visual, and I think that that's super important. We have to educate buyers. Yeah,
no doubt. And for anyone who hasn't heard my conversation around how to become a black belt in advice, you know, there's a lot of science in Mortgage Coach. You know, yes, it's tech, but the fact that we show cost over time, you know, that is an uncommon level of transparency, which creates value and it creates trust, you know. And then Mortgage Coach, the way it allows you to show different options, you know, it's option selling. When someone picks the loan, they pick the loan officer. So everything we're doing is just the science of value, the science of education to help you build trust faster, which obviously hopefully improves conversion. So Michelle, why don't you walk through what you do and how you do it? And then also make sure you give leadership advice. I mean, you are a leader, you are a coach, you're speaking to your tribe right now. You know, give the leadership message you want to give.
So for us, that whole process, I mean, this is just what we deliver, and we promise that we're going to deliver. So whenever you have a conversation with the customer, whether that customer apply online, or they're in the office, or they're over the phone, you know, setting expectations and letting them know, because a lot of times some of their first questions are, what is your interest rate? Hey, listen, we're going to get there, but first I need some information from you. And understanding more about what this transaction, what this investment means to you in your lifestyle, your family is important. And that is just part of the question. I mean, that's part of the answer to your question. So slowing them down and just making it a conversation and talking about, you know, shifting that gear to what is their family plans? What does their lifestyle look like? What is their, you know, have they bought a home before? How long did they stay in the home? How long do they plan on staying in this home? Why are they leaving that home? That's all part of that question, because not only do I want to give them information about what the payment's going to be, what the month and how much out of pocket, but really what does this mean to them long-term. But until you start asking those questions and digging out that information, then you can't put an adequate TCA together, which is that's our goal, is to get enough information from them that we can process an application, find out exactly what their plans are, because our end goal is to get a TCA in their hands so we can shift that conversation about helping them make decisions based on the investment they're about to make. Does
So
that make
two
sense?
things, it does, and I want to get you ready to show a TCA in just a minute. But if you're a top producer, that concept of being a leader to your client, like they want rate and they want payment, and you want to give them value. And constructive tension is how you get there. So if you're a top producer, you're like, check, got that, Michelle. But like if you're listening to this right now and you're struggling, that in itself is a new conversation. Like she is like, you want rate, I'm going to get you rate, but first I need information. And you'll notice that the standard for her team now is, what are your goals? What are your real estate goals? Because now when I give a TCA, you're not just giving rate and payment and a transaction, you're giving something more. And I think the important thing that everybody on this call, everybody watching this needs to know, that now that Zillow owns a mortgage company, Redfin owns a mortgage company, the world has changed. And if all you're going to do is do the transactional triangle, rate, payment, closing costs with a fee worksheet, guys, you are running in a race where you really don't have a chance to win. Win at scale. So Michelle obviously gets that. We want to know goals. We want to know hopes and dreams. And then we want to give a deliverable that aligns with that. So Michelle, why don't you pull up a TCA, and then why don't you, just kind of give real world thoughts on it. And then I'm going to ask you one more script, because I want to get scripts for everybody on this. All right. So what's the story behind this TCA?
So in this particular case, we have someone that is really, they're not quite sure what price range they want and need to be in. So in this case, we're going to give them an example of how to achieve the payment they're looking for, what price range they need to be in, and then up to 200,000. Because the one thing that I have learned is, in this area, it's getting harder and harder to find what people's expectations are at 160,000. But if I can really talk to them about the payment difference and the out-of-pocket difference between the different scenarios, that could mean the difference in them finding a home or them getting frustrated and giving up, right? So a lot of times we're using our TCAs to really help them make a home buying decision based on what they can buy in the different price ranges, knowing our area really well.
Michelle, I want to give a pro tip right here real quick.
Okay.
So you'll notice she's showing payment ranges. I am seeing a lot of loan officers show this, also showing interest rate options.
Okay.
And then one more pro tip, if you know you're dealing with like Quicken or online lender, they're always going to do like a 2-point, lowest rate, highest payment, show options with different rates and different payments, depending on the client. Okay, keep it going.
Yep. So in this case, we're just using the TCA to help them really land what sales price they need to be in, and really talking about what homes are available based on what our feedback is with that realtor. Because in my opinion, our job is to help that realtor help them, right? So we're all working together on that common goal. So if I know, based on my conversation with the realtor, is they want to be in this payment range, however, everything that they have shown them that they're interested in is in this range. So how can we help them make that happen? And this is just the beginning of that conversation. So Dave, then after you get to this conversation, you can really use some TCAs to see, okay, if we could minimize their out of pocket and use some of that money then to pay off some debt, so that they can afford this payment, then they get the house that they need, and I get to shift that role into a financial advisor role. Does that make sense?
Makes total sense.
So this also is sometimes just the beginning of the conversation that gets them like landing on what's really important, and then you can dive deeper into that relationship to really start solving some problems for them.
Love it. Hey, could you scroll to the top? I want to see how you have branded at the top. You'll notice, she's intentional about her picture, her brand. You've got the Guild logo there. So this is super smart. Now, what about integrating this into your realtor conversation? I know your team sets this up a lot. how do you integrate it with your agents, and
Well,
what do your agents think about it?
so we're super careful whenever we're doing TCAs. We always record a video to spotlight, you know, what I heard you say is that you're looking for something around $1,300 a month. However, the houses that you're looking at that has everything that you want and need is running around 200,000, and we'll record a video to explain it all, right? And based on my conversation with Heather, she's found a great house that's going to be closer to that $200,000 range. So I wanted to make sure to point all of that out, Heather being the realtor. We'll go ahead and edify the realtor, bring the realtor into that recorded conversation. And then when we send the TCAs out, we CC the agent. So they see what we're saying about them, and they also understand all of those numbers.
Is there anything else you want to show in this specific TCA?
No.
Okay, why don't you stop sharing it so we could just see your cool office with your team branding. Why don't you move the camera? I want everybody to see that little castle team. Check that out.
Let's see.
You know, the in-office experience. Yep, we can see it.
Okay.
So everything I watch about that you do online, everything that you're doing, I mean, this is the modern loan officer. You're using video. I know you use BombBomb. I want to, you know, at Guild, I know you guys have, you know, you've got your Salesforce, you've got HomeBot, you've got BombBomb, you've got Mortgage Coach. You know, I want you to start thinking of all these technologies. It's like, I'm going to use the golfing metaphor. You golf, you've got this golf bag, and you have all these clubs, and you don't necessarily use every club with on every hole. You know, sometimes, you know, you do the BombBomb club and the Mortgage Coach club and not HomeBot, or sometimes you're doing HomeBot and Mortgage Coach. Sometimes you're adding the video with BombBomb, and sometimes you're adding the Mortgage Coach video. You just gotta, you know, but yeah, it's just contextual. What's the right tools to use for this client in this situation, so that I am delivering obvious value, and not just obvious value, but client for life value. You know, that's why we're a platform. Mortgage Coach is a platform. So I want to ask you a script. You kind of alluded to that script, but what is your borrower script? One more time, as close to it as you'll do. When you describe Mortgage Coach to a client, how do you position that?
So I'm going to send over all of that information that you're asking for and so much more. And it's going to be very easy for you to understand. And I want you to just pay close attention to the numbers, but also when you get that link, you're going to be able to go in and track how much equity you're gaining, one option versus the other. You're going to see so much more than what you're, way more than the answers. I mean, the answers that you're looking for right now, which is going to pose more questions for you. Now, I would prefer most of the time when we do these presentations, my goal is to get them in my office so I can go deeper with the conversation. But I use the first TCA just to start fishing and providing enough information that creates that interest so I can schedule for them to come in. Because whenever I get face to face with them, then I can dive a whole lot deeper about not just the payment difference. To me, I'm trying to help them make life decisions. And that's when I get them in my office and I can really start looking at, okay, what are you guys doing with your 401k? How can I help you start saving some more money? Where else can we look at paying off some debt? So I'm gonna give you a mortgage loan, but let's go to the next chapter of this whole story, so that when they leave here, I'm not just a loan officer. I'm now their advisor that they're going to trust for the rest of their life.
Love that. And when they come in,
I use this as my hook to show them that, hey, I can provide you way more information than just payment and out of pocket. Let's get together and talk about it.
All right. So 2 more thoughts before we wrap this up.
Okay.
And if they come into her office, she's got a 60-inch screen in the background. You know, one of her team members has set up the Mortgage Coach, so the setup's been done by her team, and then it's on that 60-inch screen. We do have a new team edition of Mortgage Coach, which has some extra collaboration tools. So for all you Guild loan officers, if you have a team and you want to be using the team edition of Mortgage Coach, email Tina at Mortgage Coach, and she will provide you anything that you need to use the team edition of Mortgage Coach. I want to make sure everybody listening to this, if you have not listened to Shayla Giffort's perfect pre-approval process, that video and interview is money. A little, you know, I don't know, we're announcing the top 10 interviews and videos of 2019, and Shayla's number one. Seriously, between the number of views that it has, the amount of shares, I think it's been shared almost 200 times. You know, it's got over 100 likes. Anyways, Shayla, thank you for the value. I mean, in all of Mortgage Coach land, you've got the video of the year. One other video, Michelle, did I notice that you were voted or picked by BombBomb as a BombBomb influencer? Did I see that right?
Yes. Right.
So I interviewed last week Sean Herrero. Are you familiar with Sean?
I watched that video. I mean, that interview. That was great. Yes.
It was pretty solid, right?
Yeah. Yep. 3
years as a full-time loan officer, and he's closing over 70 million this year.
Yeah.
And he's using Mortgage Coach, BombBomb, and I think he uses Salesforce. So, I mean, killing it. Total money down below. So, Michelle, one last thing I want to get out of this interview, and then anything you want to share with your team, because this is for Guild. How do you position Mortgage Coach with your real estate agents? What's that sound like strategically, and any scripting that you want to describe?
So Mortgage Coach, like I said, you know, we're CCing the agent so they can see what value we're providing to the customer. And I have not done, and this is just full transparency, and everybody that knows me knows I'm like totally open book. I have not taken this to the real estate office and really shown off how powerful this is, which I really have got to get in there and really show them. Because for me, I'm helping their clients make decisions that affect the rest of their life, right? I mean, this is just one home purchase, but it does have impact for the rest of the life. And I have not done a good job of showing them how I can help them help their clients by making solid decisions based on providing these TCAs. So I will make a commitment to you, Dave, and I will tell everybody out there that is really, that's a value add. There's a lot of things that we can do for our realtors, but at the end of the day, they trusted us with their referrals. They've trusted us with their clients, which means they trusted us with our paycheck. And I mean, this is one way where we can help their clients make a decision. The agents want them to work with us because they know it's going to be a smooth and easy transaction. So anything that we can do to get that client of theirs interested in doing business with us so that the transaction's easy for that agent, we owe it to that agent. So I don't have I don't have a presentation. I haven't done it.
Well, no, but you're CCing the agent's seeing it.
They see it.
Yeah, a couple ideas I hear a lot in the Mortgage Coach community is, at a realtor lunch and learn, using a rent versus own to show agents how you create urgency for home ownership. Okay. And it's not about Mortgage Coach. It's about, hey, you want me to show you how I can help you sell more homes to first-time buyers and not make them a nightmare. You know how those first-time home buyers are like herding cats? Well, let me show you how I help create urgency and clarity for first-time home buyers to help you sell more homes with less friction. That's an idea I've heard a lot. Also, like move-up buyers, like, hey, what if we show move-up buyers how to move up and how much more wealth they could create? And so it's not about Mortgage Coach. It's about, hey, think of all the people that have been in that house for like 7 years or 10 years, and we can give them clarity on the lifetime benefits of moving up. That's an idea I hear a lot. And then another one it's like trending like wildfire in the Mortgage Coach is non-QM products, where like, hey, what about self-employed people that, they don't like the rate? Because everything I'm hearing from Michelle is, let's get them off the rate. Well, you know what? If you've got non-QM products, you don't have good rates. But you know what you do have? Like, hey, you know how you only qualify for X, with tax returns, but you qualify for Y with bank statements, and get them off rate. And then use that like, hey, look at how much wealth you could create over 5 years. And then you could do like program 1 is, conventional lending. Program 2 is non-QM. Well, the rate doesn't look good. The payment doesn't look good, but the wealth over 5 years looks great, and then you can put program 3, and in 2 years or a year, we're going to refinance you and you'll get this. So you're using Mortgage Coach to tell this, hey, I'm going to help you get the home you want, the lifestyle you want, and the wealth you want with a non-QM product. I'm hearing that a lot.
Love it. Well,
by the way, realtors like that.
That would be a fantastic presentation to a realtor. I'm going to have to work on building that out. But you know what's beautiful about all of this is it gives everybody the data that they need to help them make decisions without overwhelming them with more information than they need.
Boom.
And
Okay, mic drop.
Yeah, that's it.
One more idea, and then we're going to wrap this up. Also, seller buy downs. Let's say a realtor has a listing, it's not selling. They don't want to tell the buyer or the seller, we're going to have to lower the price. What if we did a 2-point buy down and you showed the value of that 2-point buy down? Usually a 2-point buy down has a lot more leverage than actually reducing the payment. And you use Mortgage Coach to show that. For anyone watching this, you can check out sellerbuydown.com. Scott Nicholson is just a stud in the Mortgage Coach community. And he has created a lot of online content telling that story to both buyers and realtors. So Michelle, anything else you want to make sure we cover in this conversation?
I just think that it's so super important that we are providing information to help people make decisions. They want to make decisions on their own, but they need to be educated. They'll do their own research, but they're going to come to you for advice, and then they'll make their decisions. And it's just our job to provide that information, and this allows us to do. So
cool. So guys, we are closing not a year, but a decade, and we are starting not a new year, but a new decade, 2020. Let's make Mortgage Coach, not a priority, but a reality. Let's go from it's a good idea to it's a standard. And Michelle it hasn't been easy to adopt Mortgage Coach, but it hasn't been impossible. And so guys, let's get after it. Michelle, thank you for being a leader in the Mortgage Coach community. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Take care, you guys. Have an awesome holiday, depending on when you watch this. And I am going to try to stop the recording now.